Hello everybody and welcome to another Minion Masters video. Today we're going to be taking a look at 3 different economical decks that you can play as a brand new player and rack up the wins. Today we're going to be taking a look at Economy Rage, and as you can see right here, it's built up primarily of common and rare cards, mostly commons. We'll also be taking a look at Living Cheap, and again, just 3 rare cards and mostly commons. And finally, we'll be taking a look at Stun and Run, which has 4 rares and the rest commons. So as you can see, no Supreme cards, no legendary cards in these decks, and we're going to be using Storm Rager as the hero, as that is the default free hero. So this is perfect for free-to-play players that are looking to rack up some wins. Alright, let's get into that first match, and we're going to take a look at Economy Rage first. And the point of this deck is mostly going to be to outvalue your opponents while we're also getting value on our werewolves. Alright, so we're going up against Ratbo in this one, and we've got a good split scrat opportunity right here, but unfortunately we got Plasma Marined, and the bridges will be taken by the opponent. No big deal, we've got a solution for that as we get ready to get our Tantrum Throwers in play. And what we're hoping to do sooner rather than later is cycle together the werewolves with that so that we can turn those guys into werewolves. They're perfect for it. And we are crossing the bridge. We're going to be met with a warrior right over here. And you can see here the aimbot is going to get swarmed by those flightless dragons. And that's just a easy way to get some value on all of those. In fact, it's actually would have been nice if we could have split them a little bit more, so that couldn't happen right there. Alright, so we're going to get our Dragon Whelp out, and one of the things you're going to notice about these decks is Dragon Whelp is going to be pretty heavily in play. Flyers are going to be at a premium, and Dragon Whelp's a solid one with good stats and is a common, so definitely look to see that in most of these decks, if not all of them. Here's the same thing as with the Shadow Whelp right here. It's a little bit more mana intensive. However, it's a big damage dealer and is great at getting in some surprise hits. One of the reasons why Storm Rager, in addition to being the free hero, is actually really good with this deck is that we're always looking for ways to kind of thin the herd and deal with flyers, and Storm Rager can do both of these with their level 1 perk, and as you can see, we're getting some good damage in across the battlefield. As you can see, we dropped a Cleaver here, and you wouldn't necessarily think it since they're both sort of slow moving units, but the Sniper and the Cleaver do have actually a little bit of synergy with each other in that they protect each other and deal a lot of damage. And that can be really useful for you when you're trying to take down units with a little bit larger health, or maybe just a combination of different types of units. And you can see right there, we're getting a little bit more crowd control right there, again from Storm Rager, and lots of just extra damage getting in because we're able to clean things up. Here's a spot where the Shadow Whelp is going to get a lot of value, and we're going to Once Bitten to get some werewolf action going soon. Now on the bottom side here, we've got a living statue push going. You can see the Shadow Whelp unfortunately tacked on to that, which wasn't exactly what we were hoping for. And then the flightless dragons and the scrats are going to be enough to swarm it and just damage it really quickly down before it can cause too much trouble. Both sides in this match, we're getting a lot of defense on both sides, and that's just going to be the way a lot of these matches are going to have to go since we're working off of economy cards. We're going to be focusing more on strong counters and just good mana exchanges as opposed to winning by counters or just being able to win with a single synergy or several synergies. We're looking more at just building overall strength in our attack with this particular deck. We are going to get a nice spot there for the Tantrum, so you'll notice I waited for the bridges to get taken, that way we get the extra one. I think that extra one's a really big deal because that's a good card for the 2 of them, but it's even better value for 3, and it's gonna just give us a little bit extra push right here. As you can see, we're trying to get through everything. Nothing happened there though, so we're gonna hold back and just get ready for that follow-up push. Alright, we've got 2 attacks coming right here, and as you can see, we're gonna Shadow Whelp to get that Musketeer out of the way, and unfortunately did a little bit more damage than I was hoping there to the cleaver. The musketeer is very evasive, and as you can see, that jump back and attack move really just drained that health right down. Alright, we've got some more bridge action coming here. We've got a living statue coming across the north bridge, and you can see right here how the werewolves are just great at tearing out some of those units and getting that damage in, and then leading a charge on the other way. And something here where we've got a great crowd controller in that scrat, we're able to just kind of tear through it quickly. That was a well-placed fireball to get the flightless dragons by the opponent, and we are going to set up our follow-up attack. I'm going to do our Tantrum Throwers Once Bitten combo once again, and as you can see, we're going to just let that sort of take care of those units. This time we've learned our lesson. We're going to take care of the musketeer a little bit differently this time, and then drop the cleaver. And this is kind of where you're going to see that synergy we talked about earlier. We've got a lot of things at the bridge. We've got that werewolf, we've got that cleaver. We kind of need to fireball things, but all of those units are supporting each other. Even though they're a little bit slow, they're helping us get through, and then a well-placed spell to clear everything out and start getting back to it. Alright, we can see a good fireball to get that sniper over there. And the cleaver's natural enemy, lots of swarms of units, is keeping it from getting to that tower, and we're just going to keep on pushing. Alright, we're going to have to reset back here, and you can see we're going to get that split with the flightless dragons there, because we had attacks really coming from both sides, and what we really want to do here is figure out how are we going to break through and then get that cleaver into the tower. But again, both sides are playing solid defense right here. Get a good hero shot right there, and we're going to flightless dragons right there at the bridge and just take care of the rest of their units and begin that next push. Might have been a good idea to wait actually for the living statue, as that's pretty much what it's there for. The Divine Warrior is going to go ahead and get in the way of their warrior and then allow the cleaver to get in a lot of damage. I'm a big fan of playing the cleaver defensively most of the time, simply because it's such a big unit, and it's, you know, it's heavy hitter, but it's slow, and you don't want them to take advantage of that. So it's always nice to kill a big unit of theirs on your side before letting the cleaver go to the other side, unless you know you're at a specific situation where you can really take advantage of it mono-wise. The fireball continues to keep our flightless dragons at bay, but we have several different swarm options for them. We're going to once again cleaver up front, and we're going to temper tantrum right there and get that once bitten to follow up. And those tantrum throwers right there, you know, they love coming in enraged and in that big group, but again, perfect for something like a werewolf. And as you can see right there, a nice timing, and the werewolf is just really ripping through several units and getting some good value on that 2 mana we spent to really just prolong it. And as you can see right here, we've hit Mana Frenzy, and this is pretty much where the deck is going to be able to take over. It's been a lot of push and shove, but we're now at a place where we can kind of overwhelm and really take advantage of things like the cleaver being really powerful, or the fact that werewolves are kind of beefy and strong at the same time. And as you can see, we're getting those tower hits in finally, forcing them to play things near the tower, and we're going to take advantage of that with spells, and that will do it right there. Good game. We get the victory in Mana Frenzy. And as you can see, it was a lot of push and shove throughout the match, but once we finally got to the point where we were rolling, we were able to control the bridges and keep constant pressure on, and get to that point where we were able to overrun them. Alright, gonna get our rewards right here, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at our next deck. And as you can see, we're just climbing up those Battle Pass tiers, but no time for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at Living Cheap. And this deck is, you know, a classic Crossbow Guild Living Statue combination. You can see we're using the Magma Storm there as a great way of crowd control. It can take care of a lot of really powerful units. You also see we're going to be using the Chain Lightning. The Sniper Scrat and the Dragon Whelp are going to be making a reappearance, and we're going to be adding in the Illusory Cleaver as well to just add to those quick cyclable units that can help us with crowd control. You can see we're going up against Ratbo once again. And this time, we don't have a split scrat to start out with, so what I'm going to do is just get right into the Crossbow Guild. This deck is going to work its best when the Crossbow Guild is out, and we are starting to build up a little bit of a little army of them, basically. This is an interesting play. I probably could have waited a moment and not taken any damage, and maybe I could have gotten a little bit more out of that Dragon Whelp. Timing is a big thing in this game, so definitely don't be afraid to let the tower tank a little bit and maybe send a little bit more the other way. Alright, so here we go. We're going to get our living statue there at the bridge, and as you can see, our Sniper Scrat and our crossbow dudes are starting to build up behind it. And this is really going to be the basic concept of the deck. We want to tank with the living statue and crowd control with everything else. And you can see the statue is getting to the tower. We're going to get a couple of hits in right here. And as you can see, the opponent is sort of forced into playing units at the statue, or at the tower. So we're going to take advantage of that with some well-placed spells throughout the match. One of the other goals we're really trying to do here is get multiple crossbow guilds out. So the push is kind of coming from multiple directions, and when they overcommit to one side, we can use that to our advantage. For example, here we have a Fire Imp, and the Fire Imp is just a great crowd control unit. It does so much damage in a small area, and that's perfect for when they overcommit to one side, and then we send the living statue the other way. As you can see, we've got something of a push going on both sides, mostly on the north side, and here's a spot where the living statue is doing exactly what we want it to. It's tanking the flyers' hits, and our crossbow dudes are cleaning everything up. We're once again getting to that tower, and as you can see, this time we're going to be ready for a spell when the time is right. And the time is definitely right there, now that there's a Dragon Whelp out also, and we're just going to clean that up and get some damage in at the tower. That would have been done better a little bit sooner. The Dragon Whelp could have done even less right there, actually. So let's go ahead and reset, and as you can see, we've got that first crossbow guild working, but really what we're trying to set up is, let's get us to that second one. And I like the Lone Scout. Now, we haven't had a lot of chance to use it. It wasn't in our opening hand, but it really is just a solid anti-air unit that goes well with our crossbow dudes in the general theme, but there are several different units that you can use in its place. I just like it because it's a good reset card in case they get rid of the crossbow guild. So we're going to get our living statue in one more time, and as you can see, just lead the way with the statue and let the other units clean up behind it is the general idea. And one of the nice things about it is, because the crossbow guild is spawning things constantly, there's a little bit of a stagger to it, so it's a little more responsive than putting a whole group down yourself. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next deck. And this time we're going to be taking a look at the deck Stun and Run. And this is a little bit more of a defensive take right here, and you can see we're using the Defenso Chopper. We also have the Aimbot. The Stun Lancers are going to be a big part of this deck as well. We've got the Rammer this time in place of the Living Statue, so that way we can get right to the tower still, but it's a different style, and you're going to see how this deck is going to kind of take advantage more of the Rammer than it would maybe, say, a Living Statue like the Crossbow deck would. Alright, let's go ahead and get into that next match. And we've got a Storm Ranger versus Storm Ranger match going on, so we can definitely expect some aggression from the opponent. And in my earlier days, I might have split the Stun Lancers right here. I've been less of a fan just because it's a lot easier to counter it that way. So what we're probably going to do is let them take the bridges early and then Stun Lancers in the back. I do like splitting them. That's usually a good early move because we don't know what they're going to do, and it allows us to be a little more responsive. You can see right here we've got some crossbow dudes. They're also going to be splitting, and this is just a case right there where that was a spot where we could have lost our guys really easily, but because of the stun mechanic and because of the ranged units, we're able to get right through. Now here's the Defenso Chopper doing exactly what we want it to do, which is take care of all of those skeletons and then just start marching right to the tower and cleaning up things along the way. Like you can see here, the Stun Lancers got used to take care of it, but then we were able to clean it up with Storm Rager right after. This actually would have been a good spot for a rammer, but instead of doing that, we're just going to reset and get ready for the next push. Now, here's a spot where we want to get the aimbot involved. The Stun Lancers are going to take care of the melee units, and then the aimbot is just going to be that extra damage from the back and just take care of everything. And as you can see right there, they had a once bitten and the werewolf was out, but we were able to take care of that pretty quick. Now, there's a little bit of a incorrect play, I guess you could say. Defenso Chopper, not perfect for an infiltration, but it does kind of take care of the infiltration, and then we can just kind of focus on that push going the other way. And what we're going to do here is, I like the Dragon Whelp behind it. We want some options, and then we're going to go Rammer opposite side once they've committed. And here you can see the deck doing what we want it to do. We're going to Fireball the Fire Imp to try and minimize its impact and get some extra damage in quickly right there. The one thing we did is we just decided to trade off the damage. So we got the best of that battle, but we still took a lot on the tower. We maybe could have been a little bit more aggressive and gotten rid of their scrap, but it's fine. We're just going to focus on being aggressive and getting the damage on their tower. We're splitting those Stun Lancers once again. You can see the Stun Lancers are just a great solution to something like a werewolf, which is very powerful. It runs fast, it has a lot of health, but we can stun lock it, and one Lancer and a Scrat is doing just fine. We've got an infiltration though, and that's going to break things up right over there, but got some answers for the infiltration as well. You can see the Illusory Cleaver getting used right there, and the illusion works perfectly. It gets a little bit of damage in right there, a little bit of a distraction, and then we can clean everything up quicker. We've got another push coming over here. We're going to Rammer on the south while the skeletons get dealt with on the north. And as you can see, very different than the living statue. We're not going to be telegraphing that we're coming with the Rammer quite as much. We want to get them to commit to one side and then send the Rammer the other way while they're dealing with the other threats. And we'll get that Fireball in on those Lancers in the tower for the victory right there, just showing how there's a more defensive way to get to that same victory. Each of these decks here, as you can see, take advantage of the wide range of cards that there are when you're playing with just commons or some of the earlier cards, and some of the ways that you can use them together to cover some of the weaknesses that you might be missing out by not using certain cards that were in the Supreme or Legendary category. Once we finish up getting our rewards, we'll take a look at our decks that we went over in the video, and we'll take one last look at those deck lists. And as you can see right here, we've got Economy Rage that was built on Once Bitten around the Tantrum Throwers, and Swarm with Flightless Dragon and Cleaver. We've got Living Cheap, which was our Living Statue Crossbow Guild deck, which was based around the Living Statue tanking. And we've got our final deck, Stun and Run, which was our defensive deck that took advantage of our different stun and range attacks while getting the Rammer in a defensive weakness. Thank you again for watching our video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, or leave a comment below if you have any questions, and thank you again for watching.